The procedure took most of the day, and it was essentially made up of several different parts. Dr. Smith and I were involved in removing certain portions of the calvarium so that we could access the brain and the cyst, and that was really the next critical part. So Dr. Smith was involved in addressing that arachnoid cyst, and he essentially performed a type of internal shunt. So he shunted that cyst into something called the prepontine cistern, which is part of the brain's drainage system. So instead of draining that fluid outside the body, he was essentially draining it into the normal drainage pattern of the brain. And as I said, what we're hoping is that that will be successful, and any of that fluid that was being created by that cyst will just continue to drain into that prepontine cistern. So that was the first portion of the procedure after accessing that area. The next portion involved removing some of the bones over the eyes, and that's called the frontoorbital bandeau. So we removed that portion that was essentially on either side of the encephalocele, and then Dr. Smith removed the encephalocele, repaired the covering of the brain. Normally, encephaloceles do not have functioning brain in them, so in this case, you could tell from the MRI that this was not good, viable brain, and so Dr. Smith was able to remove a portion of this encephalocele and then repair the covering of the brain called the dura. And then the last portion of the procedure was really reassembling those pieces, so assembling the bones that are over the eye and assembling the frontal bones and essentially repairing the defect in the skull with the pieces of the bone that had been removed before. It was fantastically successful. I think one of my concerns was would we be able to manage the cyst at the same time as the encephalocele, and Dr. Smith, his procedure was very technically demanding and very difficult, and it looks so far as if it's been successful. So I think from all that we know now, the skin flaps and the bone are in the right position. There are no problems with infection or fluid, and the last CT scan that we obtained looked wonderful, so I think it's been successful so far.